The case of Aileen Wuornos. Aileen Wuornos, often labeled as America's first female serial killer, remains one of the most controversial and complex figures in the annals of criminal history. Her life and crimes have been the subject of intense scrutiny, debate, and fascination, largely due to her troubled background, the nature of her killings, and her portrayal in media. Between 1989 and 1990, Wuornos murdered 7 men in Florida, claiming self-defense against sexual assault and robbery. Her case raises critical questions about justice, mental health, and the societal conditions that can contribute to such extreme acts of violence. Aileen Carol Wuornos was born on February 29, 1956, in Rochester, Michigan. Her early life was marked by instability and abuse. Wuornos never met her father, who was incarcerated for sex crimes and later committed suicide. Her mother abandoned her and her brother, leaving them to be raised by their grandparents. Wuornos's upbringing was fraught with physical and sexual abuse, and by her early teens, she had turned to sex work to support herself. Her life continued on a downward spiral of petty crimes, substance abuse, and transient living. By the late 1980s, Wuornos had made her way to Florida, where she continued to work as a prostitute along highways. It was during this period that she began her killing spree. Her first known victim was Richard Mallory, a convicted rapist, whom she killed on November 30, 1989. Wuornos claimed that Mallory had brutally assaulted her and that she killed him in self-defense. However, her subsequent murders suggested a pattern that extended beyond self-defense. Over the next year, Wuornos killed 6 more men: David Spears, Charles Carskadden, Troy Burris, Charles Humphreys, Peter Seams, and Walter Yeno Antonio. The modus operandi was consistent: she would pick up men who offered her a ride, shoot them with a .22 caliber pistol, and rob them. The bodies were often found in remote areas, stripped of their valuables and sometimes partially covered. The discovery of these bodies sparked a massive investigation. The Florida Department of Law Enforcement, the Marion County Sheriff's Office, and the FBI formed a task force to track the killer. A break in the case came when witnesses reported seeing Wuornos driving some of the victims' vehicles and pawning their possessions. Surveillance footage and fingerprints eventually linked her to the crimes. On January 9, 1991, Wuornos was arrested at a bar in Port Orange, Florida. Her girlfriend, Tyria Moore, was also implicated but cooperated with the police in exchange for immunity. Moore's testimony and a series of recorded phone conversations between her and Wuornos were crucial in securing Wuornos's conviction. During these conversations, Wuornos confessed to the murders, albeit maintaining that she acted in self-defense. Wuornos's trials garnered significant media attention, not only because of the nature of her crimes but also due to her volatile behavior and inconsistent statements. She often lashed out in court, displayed paranoid delusions, and shifted between claiming self-defense and outright admitting to murder for financial gain. On January 27, 1992, she was convicted of the murder of Richard Mallory and sentenced to death. She subsequently pleaded no contest to the murders of Humphreys, Burris, and Spears, and guilty to the murders of Carskadden and Antonio, receiving additional death sentences. The case of Aileen Wuornos brought to light several critical issues. Her claims of self-defense, while not entirely dismissed, were overshadowed by the evidence of premeditation and robbery. Her life story, marked by severe abuse and trauma, raised questions about the impact of early life experiences on criminal behavior. Additionally, her mental health became a focal point, with several experts diagnosing her with borderline personality disorder and antisocial personality disorder. Wuornos's execution on October 9, 2002, did little to quell the public fascination with her life and crimes. She was the 10th woman to be executed in the United States since the reinstatement of the death penalty in 1976. Her final statements were indicative of her troubled state of mind, expressing a belief that she would return with Jesus Christ and describing herself as being tortured by police during her life. Wuornos's story has been depicted in various films, documentaries, and books, most notably the 2003 film Monster, for which Charlize Theron won an Academy Award for her portrayal of Wuornos. These portrayals have sparked ongoing debates about the nature of her actions, the adequacy of her defense, and the broader societal issues that contribute to such extreme criminal behavior. As we delve into the case of Aileen Wuornos on True Crime, we will explore the tragic and tumultuous life that led to her becoming one of America's most infamous serial killers. We will examine the details of her crimes, the investigation that led to her capture, and the complex legal and psychological questions surrounding her case. Join us as we seek to understand the factors that drove Aileen Wuornos to commit her horrific acts and reflect on the broader implications for justice and society.